Welcome to the Empowered Working Mom Revolution podcast. I'm your host, Jocelyn Young. Our mission here is to amplify the stories of all moms so that they can be seen, heard, and supported in their motherhood journey, regardless of whether they're balancing motherhood with an external career or choosing to dedicate themselves fully to motherhood. We believe here that everyone has a unique story, and we found that storytelling is an impactful way to connect and learn from one another. Because sharing and listening to each other's stories makes us feel connected, supported, and inspired. We're excited to bring you diverse stories from fellow working moms like you. So grab your favorite drink, get cozy, and listen in to today's story to feel acknowledged, encouraged, and most importantly, that you're not alone in your experience as a working mom. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Empowered Working Mom Revolution podcast. Today's story is our last one for season 6. Can you believe it? We are at the end of season 6, and we'll be wrapping up next week, where I can't wait to share all the themes and nuggets of wisdom from the season. If you don't know me by now, I'm Jocelyn, and today's conversation with Carissa Kerrissey truly hit me right in the heart because it's part of my own lived experience as a former educator. So if you're a mom who's also an educator, or you're feeling that intuitive tug, that calling to take a leap of faith into something new, then this episode is for you. Carissa is a certified career coach who helps burned out teachers break free from exhaustion and rediscover their purpose. After nearly 2 decades in educational leadership, she founded Future Forward Careers and the Teacher Dropout Academy. Now, here's what really stuck with me. Carissa's powerful reframe of asking, what's the worst thing that could happen when fear shows up? It's so simple, but it completely shifts how we approach those scary leaps. We also talked about building resiliency through the 7 types of rest, why saying no isn't selfish, and how centering yourself is actually centering others. I just loved that phrase that she offered us. Because here's what I know for sure. Nothing is well unless you are well. So grab your favorite drink, get cozy, and let's dive in. All right. Hey, y'all. Welcome to another episode here on the Empowered Working Mom Revolution podcast. This is our last story for the season, and I'm so excited to have Carissa Kerrissey on the show. Welcome to the show.
Hi. I am so honored and excited to be here. Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah. Okay. So one thing I want everyone to know, Carissa and I met over LinkedIn on LinkedIn land.
Yep.
And I love meeting other mamas who were also educators, and we have very similar stories. And that's how we really connected. And I was like, oh my gosh, you got to come onto the podcast, share your story. So she was all game. And so thank you so much for your time today, just being here and sharing your story. I want to just start off with asking you, how did you get into the work that you're doing today, who you are today, right? What are some the significant moments that kind of brought you to where you are today?
Yeah. I mean, that is a really large question.
Yes.
And I think it's like, as all of us, we go through these different phases and evolutions of our life that has led us to where we are now. And I feel like I have 5 different lives I've led, and I'm only 42. But where I am now is just on this path of pursuing peace and liberation in all forms. And it has been quite the journey for me to get here. And so I think, if I'm starting from square one, I would say one of the most pivotal moments of my life was very early on. And that would have been when I got pregnant with my first daughter. And I was 18 at the time. And so to give a little bit of context, I grew up in a community deeply impacted by trauma. And my mom, when I was young, was incarcerated. And so I bounced around from different family members, living mostly with my grandparents at the time. And I missed a lot of school. And so, school was always, I hated school. from the day I went in. Like, I felt like, I mean, partly was probably because I was so academically behind. Like, I actually missed 2 of my most formative grades. I never went to first grade, second grade, and only half of third grade. And so I didn't learn to read until I was like in fourth grade, and it was embarrassing.
Yeah.
Um, and so I spent a lot of time feeling like I didn't belong. I was bullied. I was othered. I was always the new kid because we were moving around a lot. And so I share that story because this is really important to me becoming an educator later on.
Yeah.
Because if looking back, if then if someone would have told me you're going to be a teacher, I would have laughed in their face. Like, no way in hell would I make a career out of being in school.
Yeah, given what your own experience as a child, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just felt like a place of conforming and a lot of cliques and a lot of just, I mean, they were low income schools. And so I felt like a lot of the teachers that were there just didn't provide the care and support that a lot of kids need, especially kids like who had been through trauma. Like, I grew up in a lot of trauma. I had a sister who struggled with addiction. There was a lot of domestic violence in my home growing up. And
Yeah.
so in 10th grade, I actually dropped out. And, I was trying to figure out what I could do to get like some sort of diploma or whatever, and found this like basically fake alternative path. And the school ended up closing like the next year because it was totally illegal, but it worked for me. And so like I went that route just so I could get something, and then immediately just started working.
Wow.
And then I got pregnant pretty soon after that. And that was a life-changing moment for me, just because it was an opportunity for me to really think about like, what kind of life do I want my daughter to have?
Wow.
Yeah. And I I came from a pretty religious family. And so when I got pregnant, my 16-year-old sister had just had her baby. And yeah, wild. I know. And
Wow. Yeah.
it was really hard on my parents and my
Yeah.
family. And there was a lot of shame.
Yeah.
And yeah, a lot of shame and guilt involved in that. And so I was like, I need to get out of here. I need to separate and do my own thing. And so I actually got married to her father, which was a really bad idea. But as a way of like not experiencing, the shame that I had seen my sister go through. And so we were only married for a couple of years. It was pretty abusive. It was pretty toxic. And he ended up, because we didn't really have any money, we didn't really know what we were doing with our lives, but we had this baby on the way. He joined the military. And this was right when 9/11 had happened, and immediately was shipped off to war. And this was another pivotal time in my life because it became so real to me. And so I needed to know happening and why it was happening. And so I ended up going back to school and studying history. I studied Islamic studies and U.S. foreign policy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of unlearning and relearning and, pulling back curtains for me of just a lot of things that I feel like I wasn't exposed to.
Yeah.
And I ended up graduating and becoming the first person in my family to get a 4-year college degree, and I became a teacher. And my husband and I at the time, we ended up divorcing. And but that was a really hard time of like putting myself through college, and I was working multiple jobs, and I had this young kid. And when we separated, he was very much like, it was a very challenging separation, and he was not happy about it. And so he refused to provide any support. There was no child support. So it was just really me.
Yeah.
And it was hard. It was one of the hardest times of my life. And I feel like, looking back, like what got me through that time period, which I don't even know if I wouldn't advocate for now, but it is really how I survived, was this hustle mentality.
Yeah, because you were like in survival
Yeah.
mode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because and again, like, it's certainly not anything that I would advocate for now or like recommend, but it allowed me a level of disconnecting from myself and my situation and my circumstances in pursuit of something better.
Yeah.
You know?
I just want to pause you there because there's
Yeah.
something really key there that you're saying here is that there are seasons in our life where we have to operate at a different capacity
Yeah.
in order to either survive and to, you know, get out of the situation or get to the next. You wanted something better for
Yeah.
yourself. Like you're no longer in that, but it sounds like that's what was needed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I look back now and reflect on that time period and like, you know, because there's been some like guilt around like, why did I make it? And other people in my family didn't. And,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, like there's been a lot of separation between me and my family.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I really do. I think it was like this commitment and resilience that I built around hustling and like just making sure that I just keep pushing forward no matter how hard it gets. But the shadow side to that
Yeah.
is that I was never at peace with myself.
It's like created a different side of you.
Yeah. And so on the
Mhm.
outside, it's like here she is, like this strong, independent, you know, woman who's like young mother, like putting yourself through college, doing all of these things, like, oh my gosh. And on the inside, it was really a lot of just abandoning myself.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
How did you I feel like that happens too often as moms,
Oh my
right?
gosh. Yes.
Yeah.
All the
Like
time.
all the time. And at some point, I believe at some point, every mom comes to this awakening moment.
Yeah.
So, how did what was that moment like for you? That moment where you're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I honestly, I think it was COVID. I think a lot of people say something similar, but if I think, you know, when I I became a teacher and I had it in my mind that so I grew up in Houston, Texas. And it was inner city, you know, I'm working in inner city schools and some of the most deeply impacted communities in our nation. And I felt so connected to my purpose. Like I was just so dedicated to changing the system and
Mhm.
system reform and just, you know,
Mhm.
and a lot of it was based on my own experience growing up in
Mhm.
school. Like I didn't want any kid to feel like they didn't belong in school
Yeah.
because you can't be your best self and tap into your fullest potential if that's how you feel.
Mhm. Oh, so true.
Yeah.
So
And the world, I mean, I firmly believe that the world needs alive, aligned, purpose driven people sharing their unique gifts. And if we are at war with ourselves or each other, we can't do that.
yeah.
So I had it in my mind, like I had this strong, just like yearning for nature ever since I was a kid. And I wanted to go to the Pacific Northwest. And I had never been to Portland, never been to Oregon, never even stepped foot in Oregon. I had been to Seattle once and Alaska once, but I had it in my mind that I was going to go to Portland and I was going to create a life there. And I saved for 3 years. And I actually met he's now my husband, but my boyfriend or my coworker at the time, we taught side by side in the same classroom, same subject, same school. And we fell in love and I was like, I'm going to Oregon. Are you coming? And so it's pretty wild thinking about that because I had an 8-year-old at the time and I was like, my family, everybody was like, what is wrong with you? Like, this is irresponsible. You don't know anyone there. You don't have a job lined up. Like, what are you doing? And, you know, this is like another leap in my life of just trusting that it would work out. And then if it didn't, I could move back home. Like it's not going to be the end of the world. So yeah, we moved and now we're out here in the Pacific Northwest. And I feel like that was a part of my evolution, is getting into having more access to nature.
Yeah. What is it about the nature?
Mm. Oh, I love this question.
Because I love nature too. That's why we vibe here, Chris. I like what I want to know for you. What is it about the nature?
Yeah. I think when I'm in nature, I am reminded of how precious life is, and how we get so wrapped up in these things that we feel like matter. And in the end, they really don't matter. And like there's a season to everything. And nature is just such a beautiful reminder of change. Like life is change. Everything is how we change in relationship to change. And like nature is such a beautiful teacher of that. Like, don't be afraid of changing. Don't be afraid of evolving. Don't be afraid of, like it's just such a powerful reminder that, and it's grounding. Like I feel safe in nature.
Yeah. There's science to back that up too. Yeah.
There is. Yeah.
Wow. So you said something that really caught my attention, right? Like I'm like a risk taker like you, but like I just I want to know, like you knew, or you just like had this feeling you had to go to the Pacific Northwest, and you took that leap of faith, took that risk, and you said something like, I just had to trust that this is where I was going. Like how, for every listener listening here, right? Like as moms, like sometimes it's, we're in a season where either we're stay at home and it's taking a risk to go back into the workforce, right? Or it's like, a mom who is working right now and it's taking a risk to take the next promotion, right? So like, how did you learn to trust yourself in making that decision? Hey friends, before Carissa shares how she learned to trust herself through those scary leaps, let's take a quick break. Hey there, mamas. Let's talk about that 4 p.m. panic moment we all know too well. When you realize you have no idea what's for dinner tonight, let alone the rest of the week. I've totally been there, standing in the Trader Joe aisle, trying to piece together meals while juggling work calls and school pickup times. And that's why I'm excited to share Plan to Eat with you, the meal planning service that has honestly been a super game changer for me and my family. I've been using it for years. Plan to Eat lets you organize your recipes, automatically generates shopping lists, and helps you plan your meals for the week in just minutes. No more last minute takeout guilt or scrambling through Pinterest at 5 p.m. What I love most is how it gives me back control over my time and our family to be able to eat healthily. I can plan our meals during my Sunday coffee moments, and the rest of the week just flows smoothly. Right now, my listeners can get 20% off their first year subscription. Just head to plantoeat.com/REF/empowered mom. That's plantoeat.com/REF/empowered mom. Trust me, your future self will thank you when you're not stressing about dinner every single night. Now back to our conversation. Okay, mama friends, let's dive back into this amazing conversation. And I know that's a big question.
Yeah.
But it's fascinating to me to hear how people have built that trust in themselves, because I think that's a really like I guess like inspiring thing for people to hear, for those of us who like, you hear that voice that calls you, but then it's like, it's scary.
It's so scary.
It's so scary, but it does take trust. And so I'm always intrigued by different, all the guests here on this podcast is, how did you learn to trust yourself?
Oh,
especially in that moment.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. I feel like I did not start out trusting myself, but I do feel, because I've actually spent a lot of time thinking about this.
Mm,
Just because I'm like, what is the thing that causes people to trust these leaps? Like,
yeah,
is there like one common theme that we all share, or like, what is it?
yeah,
And it's probably different for each of us, I'm sure.
yes.
Um, but I think ever since I was a kid, when I was really young, my nickname was Peppy.
Ooh, I love that. That's so cute.
And when I asked my parents, like, why? And they were like, you were just so full of love and life and positivity. And you just like love being with people. And I feel like I've definitely had times where that has been diminished and not the case.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
But it is a core part of me of saying yes to life. Like, I just love being alive, even when it's hard, even when it's chaos and it's uncertainty and it's fear. Like, I don't take for granted for a second that I am here and I am experiencing the wild ride it is of life.
yeah,
And so I think that is like a really big part of why I'm so comfortable with leaps, is because when I have this internal knowing that it's like a calling.
mm,
This is so silly. One of my favorite songs, I can't believe I'm gonna admit this, is oh gosh, what is that Disney movie with Elsa?
is it the
Frozen.
Frozen? Yeah.
Okay, but Frozen 2, she sings this song, and now I can't even remember the song, but it's about like this calling that she
Oh yes,
hears.
yes, yes, yes. I love Frozen. Okay, because I recently watched Frozen 2, probably a couple months ago, and I was like, oh my God, this song is speaking to me.
Right? I'm
Yeah,
like,
the
I heard
calling.
it and I
Yeah.
just felt it like goosebumps
Mhm.
all over my
Mhm.
body of like, that's the feeling. That's the feeling. It's like this calling that's just like pulling me. And to say no, this is so dramatic, is to die, you know? I know it's very dramatic,
No, it's
very
not. I
Leo
love
of
it. Bring
me.
it, bring it.
But that's the feeling, is like, and then just like when those fears pop up of like, what if this, what if,
Yeah,
that's when I just ask myself, well, what is the absolute worst thing that could happen?
that
And
is
it's
a
never,
great
I'm
one.
going to die.
No. And actually, what you said earlier, it's like, well, what's the worst thing that can happen? You just move back home,
Right.
right?
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
that totally like quells the fear or lessens the fear. Not that fear is going to go away, but it like lessens the fear.
Yeah.
I love how you I love how you brought in Frozen too, because y'all, if you don't know me by now, I love pop culture and bringing pop and seeing life lessons through pop culture. Okay, for
Yes.
real. So
Well, and that song is like, the more I listen to it, I'm like, it's intuition. Like,
yes,
Elsa was so connected to her intuition.
intuition. Yes, to intuition. So that I love that you bring that up because as I was listening to you and I'm like reflecting back on the many conversations we had here with all the guests, I feel like that is a common experience that we all have at some point in our life, right? How we experience our intuition, how we experience the calling might feel different, but we all experience that intuition calling
Yeah.
experience, if that
Yeah.
makes sense, everyone. Hope you're following. Because I'm like, oh my, like all my neurons are firing because it's like, yeah, I think that all of us as human beings and even moms, like we have that it's that mom intuition, right? When
Yeah.
we all have kids,
Yep.
you have that spidey sense. That is it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just,
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's so connected to our ability to feel,
yeah, yeah,
and I think you're right. I think each and every one of us has it. It's a matter of, do we listen to it or not?
yeah. And I think, and I love that question that you said, what's the worst that could happen?
That has been so helpful for me when I'm making leaps, because I've made several in my life. And what is the worst thing that could possibly happen? And when I really reflect on that, I'm like, oh, it's not that bad.
Mm, yeah. It helps lessen the fear.
it helps lessen the fear, because the fear doesn't go away, and like one of my favorite, what is it? The Latin word of courage is heart, right? And so it's our ability to actually like feel the fear and the bravery at the same time. So courage isn't the absence of fear,
Yeah.
it's doing it anyway.
Yeah. Have you read that book, Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway? There's a book that's literally named that.
No,
Okay.
but I need to.
Yes.
I'm writing that
My own coach
down.
that gave me that book, Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. And I love that it's such a paradoxical experience,
Yeah.
right? So tell me, like you mentioned you've taken many leaps, and it
Yeah.
sounds like I know I'm like making an assumption here, but it sounds like with each leap, it's helped you to feel the fear and do it anyway a little bit easier each time, or I don't know, like how
Well,
would you
yeah, I
describe that?
mean, I think each leap is different, like there's
Mm,
been some leaps that have felt bigger than others for sure. And I do think, I think it is like a muscle that we can develop, kind of like mindfulness, right? Like it's like the
mhm.
more we get used to pushing through the fear and being okay with discomfort, that we build our resiliency to it. Like really that's the heart of
Yeah.
resiliency, is like our ability to tolerate discomfort.
Okay, okay. I'm gonna stop you right there because I know I say that too a lot to my clients, and like every time it's like I can see across the screen, like it's like shivers, like cringe.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like how do you for yourself like be comfortable with the discomfort?
Yeah. Okay.
Well,
So this
yeah.
brings me back to COVID.
Okay, all right.
So we're out here, we're at the Pacific Northwest, and then, I'm playing with the idea of moving into leadership in schools. So, being a teacher, I moved into coaching roles, and
Mhm.
then COVID happens. And I honestly had the privilege of being a coach at the time. And so things really slowed down because I wasn't a classroom teacher.
Yeah.
I wasn't having to scramble to learn how to do online teaching. And so for the very first time in my entire life, I slowed down. I had the ability to slow down,
Hmm.
and it completely changed my life.
Oh.
Yeah, we were living in, inner city Portland. We moved outside of Portland into Washington, into the woods. We got a house where I live in the woods now, and I learned mindfulness. I learned to meditate, and I thought like I had always had been curious about it. But I have ADHD, and pretty extreme ADHD. And so it was always, it just felt so frustrating, like defeating, like, oh, I can't do it. But I discovered a practice that became so easy for me. And it was actually somebody on the Calm app. His name is Jeff Warren. And it was like, learn to meditate in 30 days. And he shared so many similarities. Like he had ADHD, he was bipolar, like he was pretty reckless in his youth, did a lot of partying. And like, I really resonated with his story. And so he just broke it down into these really accessible, easy practices of learning how to get quiet.
Mm.
And oh my gosh, once I found this, like this was the peace and freedom and I guess liberation I'd been searching for my entire life. And it was such an aha moment of me, is like it starts within.
Hmm.
Like it starts with ourselves. And so yeah, I mean, it was the mindfulness, it was the embodiment practices, it was making peace with myself and really self-compassion and love. Um, and then when COVID opened back, or not opened back up, when schools opened back up, I felt a strong calling to really move into leadership, and I went into admin work, and became associate principal. And I was so passionate about bringing this into schools. And especially for someone like me who like grew up with a lot of trauma,
Yeah.
I feel like trauma strips away your agency.
Mm.
Like that's really at the foundation of what it will do to you. And when I found these liberating tools, it was like the opposite of that. Like my agency, I had gotten it back. Like I actually had choice on how I responded and how I felt. And I wasn't just like, reactive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Responding versus reacting. Yeah.
Yeah. And I wanted to bring it into schools. I wanted youth to have this. I wanted teachers. I wanted leaders. I wanted us all to center well-being and wellness. Um, and, that was kind of like the beginning of the end for me
Mm.
working in education. And I spent almost 20 years in the system in various different roles. And, I was in nonprofit, I was in teacher prep, college schools, like, working with pre-service teachers. I was in American public schools, and I experienced some really awful things. I had 3 back-to-back budget cuts because I had moved districts. And so I lost my seniority, and the district I was in was going through massive budget cuts. And so 3 back-to-back was really stressful. And once I saw behind the curtain of leadership and how toxic the system was and how it was built on bureaucracy and hierarchy and power, I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't unsee that. And I felt like I was just like pushing this rock up this hill by myself because no one wanted to. The system was just built on urgency and scarcity and go, 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 go. And just like this cycle of, I call it exploitation,
Mm. Which is the
and
opposite of what you were trying to do of, mindfulness, change within.
yeah.
Yeah.
And, I experienced some pretty hard things, with one being just a supervisor who was absolutely awful to me. And as I was trying to like bring this work into schools, he literally behind closed doors was like, I think your need for connection is getting in the way of your job. And I was like, because I care about people, and so it was just like a wake up call for me of like, the
Yeah.
system doesn't want to change. Like,
Yeah.
and I don't mean to say that there's not people in that system that are working hard, because there are. Oh my gosh. But I got to a place, and then there was a school shooting,
Mm.
and luckily no one was injured, but we were all like, the effects were the same because we were
Yeah.
in lockdown for hours. And the aftermath of that, like, I thought that maybe this would be an opportunity for us to really center wellness and like healing practices. And nope, it was like not what happened. And that was really the last straw for me, as I was like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I'm going to leave the system and I'm going to do my own thing.
Another leap.
And this was the most terrifying leap that I've ever made because, well, multiple reasons. And this sounds so irresponsible, and I probably would not advocate if this was one of my clients, I would not be like, you should leave. But I
Yeah.
did it. And it's just, there's something to believing and trusting. There really is something to that.
Ooh,
And
say more about that.
because on paper, the decision to leave was reckless. And I'll explain why. Because I had $100,000 in student loans that I still owed. And, I was one of those teachers banking on PSLF, public loan forgiveness, happening, which I didn't know if it would ever happen. And I took all those loans out when I was putting myself through college. And those were still with me. And I knew that I was really close to potentially those being forgiven, but it might mean I have to stay in the system
Mm-hmm.
2 more years.
Mm-hmm.
And I provided the health benefits for everyone in my family. I have three girls and my husband. And so like, I needed the money, right? I had no idea what I was doing and starting my own business. I had 0 business experience. So like, everything on paper was like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And I was just like, again, this part of me that's like, I love life and I'm not going to stay miserable. It's too sacred for me to stay miserable. I could die tomorrow. And then
Wow.
none of it would matter. And I made the leap. And It was terrifying. And I will say that probably losing my position 3 years in a row, even though I was always offered another job, like I walked away from a position, the last position that was offered to me was $150,000 a year. And I said no. And I think going through that helped because it helped dissolve this illusion of safety and security that it's, you could lose your job at any time. Life can be, you could get cancer tomorrow. You could, like we don't get this sense of safety and control we feel like we have is kind of an illusion.
Yeah, and especially in education, I feel like it's a huge illusion because like you feel like you have tenure or like, you're working towards your pension if you're in the public education system, right? Like there's this illusion of safety in terms of the job wise, which is not really 100% true because death could be coming for you at any moment.
Exactly. Exactly. And, the 3 back-to-back budget cuts was some of the lowest points in my life. Like I was not well. I was like, coping mechanisms were bad. I was not taking care of myself. I was extremely burnt out. I was living in fear. I was like, what am I going to do? Like everything is crumbling. And it was kind of like a identity crisis in a way. And
how did you pick yourself up from there? Like, because I know I'm speaking to all the educators who are listening here because I know you're listening.
Yeah.
It's a hard time right now to be an educator. So how did you cope?
Well, I was fortunate enough to have these practices and these tools and resources around well-being and mindfulness that I could fall back on. And I really relied on those to get me through.
Yeah.
I don't know what I would do if I hadn't had those access to that. Because I knew how to ground myself. I knew how to regulate myself. And I knew how to push past fear and uncertainty. And I just, I started meeting people who had made the leap. I started getting in community with folks who were past where I wanted to be, which I do think is so powerful when we can be in community with people who have made it through to the other side. Is inspiring. And it lets us know that like, okay, it'll be okay. Like other people have done it. I'm not alone. That was really important. And then, it just got to a point where I was like, I'm just going to do it. And the worst thing that I did it again. The worst thing that could happen is I go back.
Yeah.
I'm not going to die. I go back and get my old job.
Yeah. I love that. That's the key question here. I feel like that people are going to take away from this is like, what's the worst thing that could happen?
It's such a powerful reframe. Reframes are great.
Yeah. I love it. Coach to coach. Yes. Reframes are awesome.
They're so powerful because it really does just put things in perspective, because we have this inner critic voice that we can listen to. It's really just rooted in fear, but also trying to protect us, when you think about like the evolution of humans, we all have a negativity bias that has helped us survive. And that's the first thing that's going to pop up when it's like you're doing something that is unknown. Alert, you're not safe, and it's like, again, mindfulness practices can help us meet that part of us that is fear.
Yeah.
And say, what's the worst that could happen?
Yeah.
I
love that. One thing I want to ask you about is I just sense like that resiliency in you, right?
Yeah.
Like building that resiliency. And so like, what is some like advice that you could share with our listeners about, building that muscle of resiliency? Alrighty, mamas, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, Carissa shares her advice on building that muscle of resiliency. Hey, mama friends. Can I just share something that's going to be a total game changer for moms with toddlers? You know that overwhelming question that pops up of what should I be doing to help my child learn at home? Well, here's what I love about learning with Kerrisey. The founder, Kerrisey, gets it because she's been in our shoes. And as a former teacher and a mom, she knows exactly what kids need to thrive in kindergarten. But she also understands how overwhelming it can feel trying to figure it all out ourselves. You can check out her story because she was on our podcast in season 6, episode 7. Now, each month, you'll get a beautifully curated box filled with hands-on activities that actually make learning fun and not stressful. We're talking toddler boxes, preschool boxes, kinder prep, even sensory boxes. Everything is age appropriate and designed by someone who truly understands child development. And here's the best part. Over 35,000 moms are already using these boxes, which means Kerrisey has figured out how to take the guesswork out of early learning for all of us. I'm excited to offer our listeners $10 off their first order. So just head to rstr.co/learningwithkerrisey/5062, or you can click the link in our show notes. Now, trust me, as a former teacher, this is an amazing resource for any moms with toddlers. It'll save you time and energy and take the guesswork out of figuring out how to help your child learn at home. Okay, mama friends, let's dive back into this amazing conversation.
Yeah.
Like, how would you build that muscle of resiliency? And even like for the clients that you work with, right, as a coach, like, it takes resiliency to take that leap. So, what advice would you give to our listeners about building the muscle of resiliency? Because that's totally in your story.
Oh, it is. I mean, it's the through line.
The through line.
And I will say thanks, trauma, right? Like it's probably rooted in childhood trauma, which I would not advocate be the way we, learn resilience, but it probably did stem from that. And I think now, and probably even then, is like, and this is what I teach with my clients, in my coaching program that I have for educators, transitioning educators, is we always start with our wellness. And so I talk a lot about the 7 types of rest and how important it actually is for our resiliency. And we build that muscle of making sure that we are caring for ourselves through really hard, uncertain times. So going out and like playing, like get into nature, if it's, or whatever it is you enjoy, like get out of your surroundings and go live, go play, go be creative. Like humans, we crave that, like that, we need that. And be in connection with other people, invest in your community, go out with your friends, like play with your kids, like just get out of this place of fear. And I think that helps build our resiliency. Like when we're disconnecting from the things that are causing us so much anxiety or so much fear, and we actually go out and experience life. That, because again, I think at the heart of resiliency is our ability to tolerate discomfort. And we can build that skill, that muscle of tolerance by going and living, and centering our well-being and like, all of the different ways that we rest. I think that helps us build that muscle.
Yeah. That's the human side of being a human being, is engaging in those types of rest.
Yes. And, I think there is like a spiritual side to it, at least for me, what I believe is that we're all a part of something greater. I choose to believe that.
Yeah.
I like believing that.
Yeah. Same.
Because like whether it's true or not, right? Because I don't know if any of us actually have definite answers of anything, but like this, there's hope. There's always hope. And we have to hold on to that. And that is also a way of building our resiliency, is knowing that we're a part of something greater. and that we all have a place to, part to play in that. I love the concept of like an ecosystem framework.
Yep, same.
Yeah. And so if you look at a healthy, thriving ecosystem, each species knows its part, right? Like they know their strength, they know their purpose, and they're interconnected in this greater mission that causes it to be a thriving ecosystem. And I think human beings are the same way. That's the way we should approach a society, is that we are interconnected, whether we think we are or not. We like to other each other and put each other in these differences. And it's all an illusion. We share this planet, and we each have a purpose, and we each have a unique strength that will help. If we can tap into that and share it with each other, we can create a healthy ecosystem.
Preach, Carissa. Just preach.
And I don't know how that I got from resilience to that, but somehow they're connected.
I see I see the connection. Like, seriously, I see the connection, because the connection is, when you are tapping into your resiliency, right? When you are tapping into that human side of those 7 ways of rest, it fosters your resiliency. It strengthens your resiliency so that you can also tap into your strengths to bring it into the ecosystem of life here on this world, right? So it's all these things are interconnected. Practicing and engaging in like wellness practices, mindfulness, 7 ways of rest, it's not an additional thing. I want to like dispel this like narrative of like, oh my gosh, it's another thing. It's not another thing. It is part of what it makes this life just more, fulfilling and satisfying, and also like in service to the entire ecosystem of life here. Right. Like,
Beautiful.
it's not an added thing, right? Like it's as we hear from your story, it's like, it's what led you and what keeps you doing the work that you're doing and taking those leaps. Because if you hadn't taken the leaps, you wouldn't be able to serve the people that you're serving now.
Exactly. Yeah. And I feel similar to you, like so passionate that this is just not another thing. And that's what I was experiencing when I was trying to bring this work to school, is like, oh, it's one more thing on our plate. And I'm like, no. This is the foundation to everything.
Yeah.
Like this will help with everything that comes after, because it is the foundation. And I think about it as like capacity building. It's building our capacity.
Yes.
Right. And again, resiliency, it's building our capacity.
Yeah.
So that we can be in right alignment with our purpose, with what we are here to do in our short time that we have.
Yes.
Our very, very short time.
We're just preaching here,
Carissa. I know. I love it. Let's preach away. Come on,
everyone. Y'all. It's just, come on in.
It's a movement. Let's go.
It's a movement. Hey, this is why we call it the revolution here on the podcast.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Exactly. Right. Like, I mean, wouldn't we all just be so much more happier?
Oh, seriously, 100%. My gosh. Well, so what would you say is your kind of lasting words of wisdom for okay, I'm going to give you two audiences to speak to.
Okay.
Or maybe it's one. I don't know. The mom who is an educator.
Oh, yeah. And this is most of my clients.
Yeah.
Saying no is not selfish. Creating boundaries are not selfish. And that is such an ingrained concept for moms and for educators. So like double whammy.
Yeah.
Is you give and give and give and give at the expense of yourself, because that's the right thing to do for others. And actually having boundaries is how we love ourselves and each other.
Ooh, Brene Brown.
Brown. Yes. And what is it? I'm forgetting their name. Prentice. I'll have to look it up, but that also comes
Oh,
from their work.
yeah.
And that's embodiment work. And yeah, I mean, that was life-changing for me because I grew up thinking that saying no, and I was modeled this by my own mother, is like, you just take on and on and on and on until you're actually miserable and resentful and angry, right? And then maybe one day you have a breakdown, who knows? But the answer is not saying yes to everything. The answer is having boundaries so that we can sustain ourselves.
Yeah. It is hard, but it's also like you can do it. Like
Yeah.
in order to be what I'm hearing you say is in order to be the best version of yourself as a mom for your own kids, but also to be the best version of yourself as a teacher.
Yep.
Is to say no and have those boundaries. And I'm like, man, it's like when you talk about systems, like it's so ingrained, that story and the system of being the role, the identity of a mom. It's like, selfless work,
Yep.
right. But also in the education system, that narrative of like, we just want you to say yes because it's for the student.
Oh my gosh. Like, now I'm on
Cringe.
fire. I'm
Like,
angry.
yeah, like, okay, yes, yes, everything is for the students, but not at the expense of yourself, right?
Exactly. That's
And
not
that's the
the
system.
answer. Yes.
Yeah.
And that's how the system exploits and
Mhm.
perpetuates, right? Is at the back of on the backs of the people, usually mother educators, not always, right?
Mhm.
But primarily it is a profession made up of that.
Mhm.
And by shaming them for saying
Mhm.
no, because I have literally been shamed for saying no, right? And so many of
Mhm.
my clients who come to me at the point where they're ready to leave, they have similar stories. So if you're someone who's still in the system, create your boundaries and know that it is not selfish. It is how you sustain yourself, to
Yeah.
keep doing the work. Like, you have to center yourself. Centering yourself is also centering others, because
Ooh.
nothing is well unless you are well.
Yeah. Okay. I love that phrase. Centering yourselves is centering others.
Yeah.
Okay. I know I asked you the lasting words of wisdom, but I have another question. Because it's specific to educators who are moms. I feel like just because we both we both came from that, like it's such a unique audience, right? And group of people that the one thing that I always heard was the feeling of guilt.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, and it's like, oh, I feel guilty if I say no to not doing that adjunct duty, or I feel guilty of like, taking a sick day because I want to, take my kid to college, right? Like it's just like, how do you help
Yeah.
your clients, or even how did you help yourself work through that feeling of guilt? Because it's not like it's gonna completely go away, but I don't know if that's just like an innate human nature kind of thing for our gender. I'm
Yeah.
not sure. So
Yeah. I mean, I definitely think it stems from societal expectations and norms that are placed on women specifically.
mhm.
And then, of course, you have the other layer of being an educator in the system, which really is built on that type of exploitation.
Yeah.
Um, and, I always think about, I'm very future focused, just in my personal life and in my professional life, around what is the future that we want to be building.
Ooh.
Yeah. And that can kind of help. For me, it has helped take it out of feeling so selfish. Like, it's about me. It's really not even about me. It's about our future. It's
Yeah.
about the generations of kids that are coming. It's about our youth. What are we modeling to them?
Yeah.
And I, as someone who sees myself as a public servant, I'm here to serve. I'm here to make positive change in our world in whatever capacity and role I'm in. Like, that is a big responsibility for me. And so when I look at it like that, it's like, oh, I don't want my girls, I have 3 girls, I don't want them to inherit that belief, because I know it's not good for them. I
Yeah.
know what it will do to them in the long run.
Yeah.
And that's how I navigate that guilt.
Mm.
It's actually not about me.
It's outside of yourself. That's a very spiritual thing.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. But that's okay, because what harm comes from that? Right?
Yes.
Regardless of what you believe in, like, I think we all will do well sharing some vision of that.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I love that. Okay. As we were transitioning, you mentioned a couple times the lightly, in our conversation of working with your clients and what you do. Can you share with our audience, like, what is it that you have, that huge leap that you took, and what
Yeah.
is it that you're doing now, and how people can connect with you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's been quite its own evolution of leaving. I'm a year and a half out of the system now. And originally I was just doing like facilitation and workshop trainings around dignity and belonging, around mindfulness and well-being, around discovering purpose. And what it has now morphed into is I still do that, but I'm also doing career and leadership coaching for burnt out educators that, like me, like you, like many of us, are still want to do meaningful work, still feel very purpose driven, but don't want to do it at the expense of ourselves anymore. And so I have a whole process that I take folks through. It's usually we work together for 3 months or so, and it's a career transition program where we go through rediscovering our purpose. What is it that lights you up? What's the impact you want to make? Identifying our transferable skills and our unique strengths, and then getting some really strong career clarity that we use then to build our professional brand, which I feel very passionate about, is making sure that we have a brand that is aligned with us, that is true to us, that is not generic and sounds like everyone else. Again, going back to this like strengths and purpose that make us unique. So yeah, and then just all the professional materials that go with that, like resume, cover letter, LinkedIn, I'm obsessed with. That's how we met. Like, this is the power, y'all, of networking.
Yes.
This is it.
And you know what? I love that, because as educators, right, this is such new territory.
Oh my gosh. I knew nothing.
LinkedIn networking. I'm like, oh my God, what is this? Like, I'm a little fish in this big bowl, but it's not. You're just the same size fish as everyone else, everyone.
Yes, exactly. And I feel so passionate about helping support educators and learning how to use that platform, because I see the benefit and I see how powerful it is when we show up in a very authentic, aligned way. And then, phase 3 is all about the actual transitioning. So interviewing prep. I especially love helping women educators learn how to negotiate salary and packages, because that is not something that we are ever taught or even can fathom in the education space.
Yes, because you just go by the salary schedule, y'all.
Yeah, I mean, talk about glass ceiling.
Yeah. I love it. I love how you also do the personal branding, because that's also very like a new thing for educators, right? But when I think about that, now that I'm like 3 years out, it's like, actually, you had a personal brand when you were a teacher.
So true. So true. We just didn't have the language for that.
You just didn't have the language.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, the things that I'm doing now are the things I was doing in school. It's very similar. It's just packaged a little differently. And everything that I do is centered on well-being being the foundation to the work I do. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Because that is the foundation, y'all.
It is.
Carissa and I preach on this all day long.
I know you do. And I love that we share that mission, because it's so critical right now.
Oh my gosh. Yes. 100%.
So critical. Yeah.
100%. 100%. Well, it's been so fun having you share your story. I love your story. I feel like that so many listeners are going to resonate and find so much inspiration and just encouragement from what you shared, especially y'all educator listeners. I know you're out there.
Yes. You're not alone. I have one quote that I want to share too. This is my all-time favorite quote. The journey is the destination. I want that tattooed on my arm as a reminder that there is no final destination. It's all about evolving. It's all about reinventing. And I just love that. It's about becoming. And I love that. Absolutely love it.
Yeah. I love that quote. Can you say that quote one more time? Because I love that quote.
The journey is the destination. And I have no idea where that quote originated from, but I latched on to that as soon as I saw it. And it has been so helpful for me in every leap and evolution and phase of life that I have gone through.
Yeah, I love it. I love it because we're so programmed to just look for the destination.
And then we miss out on the present moment, on
Yes.
living, on the now. And that's really all that matters because I could die tomorrow.
Y'all not to be more, but that is actually true. Death is coming for you. You don't know when.
Yeah, there's been no invention to bypass that, unfortunately.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Love the laughters, love the preaching, love the gems of wisdom. You just dropped the bomb. Okay, y'all, I learned a new slang, clocked it, right? Like that's all the Gen Z or Alpha, generation is probably going crazy right now. They don't listen to this podcast. It's okay, y'all. Moms, you need to know that slang if you have a teen or tween.
Exactly. I love it.
Exactly. So you ready?
Oh my gosh. Oof,
our game?
Okay, let's do it.
Let's do it. Mom moments in a minute. Here we go. 3 questions. All right. Rapid fire.
Oh my gosh.
First question. To have a moment of peace and quiet to yourself, which of these places would you choose from? The bathroom, the car, the bedroom, or the closet?
Well, my meditation altar is in the closet, so I'm going to vote closet because that's my safe space. Otherwise, it might be the car.
I love it. Yeah, go where the meditation space is. All right, closet. Okay, second thing, open-ended question. What's your favorite thing to do with your girls?
Oh, I love this question. The river, the woods, like nothing brings me more joy than when I am watching my kids interact with nature and be creative and not be on technology and like really be living in the present moment. Like that's what's the beauty of nature is it forces you to be present.
Oh my God.
Like you're present.
Yeah.
So yes, absolutely. Yeah. Like our all-time favorite day is a river hangout, playing in the water, walking in the woods. Love it.
Oh, I love it. Mine's is the beach, but I love the woods too.
Love the beach too. And my youngest daughter loves the beach. Oh my gosh. So does my oldest. But yeah, all my girls love it.
All nature on it. So last question, to relax out of these choices, what would you choose? A spa, a hike, a nap, read, or crafting?
A hike. I'm always picking nature.
I was like, I think I can guess what answer.
Probably not a surprise. I'm curious, what would you pick?
I would pick a hike.
Yeah.
Second runner-up would be a nap.
I wish I could nap. I've never been able to nap, and I hate that. But
well, my naps are like 4 hours long, so I don't know if that's considered a nap. But
it's like almost a full night of sleep. Halfway there.
I'm halfway there. So that's why, like my family's like, that's not a nap, Mom. That's a full-on like sleep time for you.
Hey, that's great though. The more we rest, the better. I'm definitely an advocate for resting.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on this show, Carissa.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. This was awesome. I love it. Talking about all my favorite things. So it's an honor to be here.
Well, one last thing. How can people connect with you and find you?
Yes. So LinkedIn is a place that I'm pretty active on. So you can find me, Carissa Kerrissey. My website is futureforwardcareers.com. And if you want to find me on Instagram, which I use that a little bit, it's Teacher Dropout Academy, which is my signature education program for transitioning teachers. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, everyone, if you're a teacher who's ready to leave the system, you got to go hang out with Carissa.
Yes, I would love to support you.
And find me on LinkedIn, because we are on LinkedIn land. That's a place to be. But thank you again, Carissa, for gracing us with your presence here.
Yeah, of course. Thank you again for having me. Take care, everyone.
Alrighty, mamas. I hope you feel empowered and seen from today's conversation with Carissa. This was our last story for season 6, but stay tuned for next week's episode where I'll be sharing all the powerful themes and gems of wisdom we uncovered throughout the season. As you know, our mission on this podcast is to amplify the stories of all moms so that you can be seen, heard, and supported in your motherhood journey. And your support helps us continue this work. So here are 3 ways you can support the podcast. 1, you can leave a rating on Apple Podcasts so more moms can discover these stories. Just scroll down on our show page and select your star rating. 2, write a review to help other moms find this place of connection and belonging. And 3, make a one-time donation for as little as $7 because your support helps us keep bringing you these conversations. The link is in the show notes. Finally, thanks for listening and for being part of this community. I'll see you next Wednesday for our Season 6 wrap-up episode. And until then, sending you love, light, joy, and a reminder that you're doing a great job, my fellow mom friend. Wishing you a wonderful rest of your day. I'll see you next week. Bye.